How can one pregnancy result in two babies? It might sound surprising at first, but twins are one of the most fascinating outcomes of human reproduction, and the way they form inside the body is truly remarkable. In this video, we're going to walk through exactly how twins are formed, the difference between identical and fraternal twins, and what is really happening inside the body during this process. By the end, you'll not only understand how twins happen, but also gain a deeper understanding of how early pregnancy works as a whole. Welcome to your Pregnancy and Baby Development Guide. To truly understand how twins are formed, we need to start from the very beginning, at the moment pregnancy begins. Section 1. How pregnancy begins. Pregnancy begins when a sperm cell successfully meets and fertilizes an egg. This usually takes place in the fallopian tube, which connects the ovaries to the uterus. Out of millions of sperm cells, only one is able to enter the egg. The moment this happens, something incredible takes place. A completely unique genetic combination is formed. This single cell now contains all the information needed to develop into a human being. This fertilized egg is called a zygote, but it doesn't stay as just one cell for long. Within hours, it begins dividing, first into 2 cells, then 4, then 8, and continuing this process rapidly. What's important to understand here is that each of these new cells carries the exact same genetic information. This early stage is extremely delicate, but also very powerful. As these cells continue dividing, the structure begins to travel slowly toward the uterus. During this journey, it forms a more complex structure known as a blastocyst. Once it reaches the uterus, it attaches itself to the uterine lining, a process called implantation. This is the moment pregnancy officially begins. In most cases, this entire process results in the development of one baby. However, in some situations, something different happens during these early stages, and that's where twins begin to form. Section 2. Identical twins. Identical twins form from a single fertilized egg. Instead of continuing to develop as one embryo, the zygote splits into 2 separate embryos. Each of these embryos then continues to grow independently, eventually developing into 2 babies. Because both babies come from the same fertilized egg, they share the same genetic makeup. This is why identical twins often look very similar and are always the same sex. But what makes identical twins even more fascinating is the timing of this split. The exact moment the egg divides determines how the twins will develop inside the womb. If the split happens very early, each twin may form its own placenta and its own amniotic sac. This means they develop in completely separate environments, even though they started from the same cell. If the split happens a little later, the twins may share a placenta but still have separate sacs. This means they receive nutrients from the same source, which can sometimes make the pregnancy more complex. If the split happens even later, the twins may share both the placenta and the amniotic sac. And in very rare cases, if the separation is incomplete, the twins may remain physically connected. These are known as conjoined twins. All of these possibilities come from the same starting point, a single fertilized egg that divided at different stages. Even though identical twins share the same DNA, small differences can still develop over time. These differences can come from environmental factors inside the womb, or even small variations in how genes are expressed. Identical twins are relatively rare, and unlike fraternal twins, they do not strongly run in families. They tend to occur randomly, which makes them even more unique. Section 3. Fraternal twins. Fraternal twins form in a completely different way. Instead of one egg being fertilized, 2 separate eggs are released during ovulation. Each egg is then fertilized by a different sperm cell. This results in 2 separate embryos developing at the same time. In many ways, this is similar to having 2 separate pregnancies happening simultaneously. Because the embryos come from different eggs and different sperm cells, they do not share identical genetics. They are genetically similar in the same way as regular siblings. This means they can look alike or completely different. They can also be the same sex or different sexes. Each twin develops in its own environment, usually with its own placenta and amniotic sac. Because of this, fraternal twin pregnancies are often less complex compared to some identical twin pregnancies. Another interesting aspect of fraternal twins is how different they can be. One twin might inherit more traits from one parent, while the other inherits more from the other parent. This can lead to noticeable differences in appearance, personality, and even growth patterns. Fraternal twins are more common than identical twins, and their occurrence can be influenced by several factors. Section 4. Visualizing the difference. To better understand the difference between these two types of twins, it helps to picture what's happening inside the body. In one scenario, a single fertilized egg begins dividing and then splits into two, creating identical twins. In another scenario, two separate eggs are released and fertilized at the same time, creating fraternal twins. Even though both result in twin pregnancies, the processes behind them are completely different. Visualizing these two paths makes it much easier to understand why some twins look exactly alike, while others do not. Section 5. What increases the chances of twins? Certain factors can increase the likelihood of having fraternal twins. One of the most important factors is genetics. If there is a history of twins in the family, especially on the mother's side, the chances may be higher. Age also plays a role. As women get older, especially after the age of 30, the body may release more than one egg during ovulation. This increases the chances of multiple eggs being fertilized. Hormonal changes are a key reason behind this. Certain fertility treatments can also increase the chances of having twins. These treatments may stimulate the ovaries to release multiple eggs. Lifestyle and overall health may also have some influence, although this is less predictable. However, it's important to remember that identical twins are not influenced by these factors in the same way. They usually occur randomly and cannot be easily predicted. Section 6. What happens inside the body? During a twin pregnancy, the body adapts to support the development of two babies at the same time. Inside the uterus, both babies grow within a shared space, but each follows its own developmental path. Depending on the type of twins, they may share or have separate placentas and amniotic sacs. Because the body is supporting more than one baby, it often works harder. This can lead to stronger pregnancy symptoms, especially in the early stages. The uterus may expand more quickly, and hormone levels may be higher than in a single pregnancy. These changes are part of how the body adjusts to meet the needs of both babies. Section 7. What this means for you. Understanding how twins are formed helps you see just how complex and carefully coordinated early pregnancy is. From a single cell to fully developing embryos, every step plays a critical role. Twin pregnancies simply show that this process can sometimes take more than one path. Whether it's one baby or two, the early stages of pregnancy are truly remarkable. If you're curious about the signs of a twin pregnancy or how to recognize them early, check out our next video on signs you're having twins. And if you found this video helpful, subscribe for more pregnancy tips, baby development guides, and week-by-week updates.